Module 6, Safety and of course Project 1, Motor Carrier Regulations, Class LOGM 229, Transportation, due September 29th, 2024. Today we're going to talk about motor carrier safety. We're going to talk about, a lot of driver specific, truck specific regulations, and a lot of behind the scenes information about those big old trucks running down the road. So, my name is Derek Dean, and I'll give you a little tour. First of all, I chose this topic because I myself have been working in the transportation industry for about the last 5 to 6 years. It's a career I enjoy, and it's a career I'm going to pursue through and create a better future through learning. It's fun. I'm very passionate about motor carrier transportation safety. You've got to be safe out there. You are not only holding your life in your hands, but you weigh, as a truck driver, you weigh 80,000 pounds, because usually every shipper is going to want to get just as close as they can to that number. It's the biggest bang for their buck, so to say. So you got to be safe. You have to be safe at all times. For the agenda today, we're going to talk about driver regulations, load regulations, and miscellaneous. We're going to cover a wide berth of things. It's just a nice, insightful look into the world of motor carrier transportation. So we're going to talk a lot about weight. We're going to talk a lot about the driver. We're going to talk a lot about the road and the load. So, first off, in order to even be a DOT driver, you've got to get what's known as a DOT physical, or a med card, or the proper name is Medical Examiner Certificate. This one's mine. You can't see it because it holds all your personal information, everything about you, your medical history, your current health, your blood pressure, your urine analysis, anxiety, depression. They're going to want to know if you've used illegal drugs within the last few odd years. They're going to ask you a bunch of questions. They're going to make you pee in a cup. It's a long skinny of it. Why? Safety. You can't be a walking heart attack and driving an 80,000 pound vehicle out there. It happened all too recently over in Warsaw. A gentleman was driving down the road, had a heart attack, which is sad, but his load is still in our motor coil going 65 miles an hour, which it ultimately crashed into a restaurant. But this is the emphasis of why it's so important to have a good, clear, clean bill of health, because yeah, he might have popped off, but the load's still here with us. And it wrecked into that restaurant and ruined a lot of people's days and meals. It's not a joking manner, but the road's wild. You will see stuff. If you are a driver, you will see things you didn't want to see. So, take that as you will. Before we move on to road regulations of load, let's talk about the FMCSA is going to drug test you. They're going to make you, if you fail a FMCSA class or a drug screening, you can rehabilitate within a certain time period of failing said drug test. But as a smart, safe driver, you should do your best to never get there to begin with. Moving on to regulations of the load, we're talking size, weight, commodity, and type. Let's talk about size. If your standard truck sits about 13 feet 6 inches high. Now that's not a pretty truck. That's not even a pretty cool truck. That's that boring Volvo Freightliner going down the road. You get into older parts of the country, the bridges get lower. Trucks have only gotten bigger ever since their conception, and as a driver, you've got to be mindful of the load in the road. It can't say 12 feet high and you're stacked 13.9, just like C.W. McCall called it. Going on to weight, this one's kind of outside perception is misconstrued at times, and it's happened to me. I used to drive Class B, which translated to it's got a gross vehicle weight of 33,000 pounds. My coworker believed that you could put 33,000 pounds on the back of that truck, and that's not how it works. Now, for my example, because I've moved up to Class A's, we're going to talk about Class A weights. You get 80,000 pounds total vehicle weight before you have to have a permit. The truck itself, empty with the trailer, weighs about 35,000 pounds. That's a lot of weight for being empty. Your typical car, car and truck, they are anywhere from 1,500 to 25, 33,000 pounds if you're lucky. But you're talking about a unit that is empty, weighs that much already. So what does this mean? Well, most of your standard bridges, your roads, they're designed to handle that kind of load. But when you go over that weight limit, you're going to have to get a breakdown of your route, where you're going, how you're getting there, what roads are going to be there, and what bridges you're going to have to go under. And it's got to be approved by the state. And that, I think, is another act of, safety, as far as if the road's too, the road's too small, or the bridge is too small, or, it's, not tall enough, yada, yada, yada. It boils down to, getting that load down the road safely. Commodity and type, there's a big difference between hauling empty skids and dynamite. And if you're hauling dynamite, you better have them placards out. A lot of trucking, especially in the placards area, that's all about communicating the risk. Keyword there, communicating. If you see this black and white skull and crossbones on it, stay away from it. He's hauling dynamite. He needs all the help he can get. Moving on. Let's see. Yep. Don't hit bridges. Moving on to tankers. Now, this was what I would call the miscellaneous load regulations. Tankers, you have to have an endorsement, safety. You've got to test for it. You've got to be knowledgeable on how this unit itself reacts to driving conditions. Now, with tankers hauling liquids, you got this tank, and in this tank there is a liquid flowing back and forth in accordance to how you're going down the road. So if you're stopping, it's going to all rush to the front and it's going to push you. Well, to fight that, they put what's called baffles inside of these tankers, and all of them, or most of them, should have a baffle system. And if they don't pull it. But those baffles break up that momentum that keeps that load from pushing your truck down the road. Tankers are awesome modes of transportation, though, but they do require their own goggles of safety. You've got to be every bit safe. Doubles and triples. Most LTL companies will run doubles and triples. They call it line hauling. This is basically where your product's moving to the next station. But safety-wise, you're talking about 2 to 3 moving hinges going down the road, and they've dubbed it the crack the whip effect. And what does this mean? Well, it means that your momentum, your slight turn adjustment was this up front, and now it's this out back. It takes a special kind of dude to haul doubles and triples, and the best advice I can give anybody as far as safety goes, give them space, give them time. These trucks aren't fast. They're heavy and they're slow. They're land trains, and you can, see just from, hitting the road, safety is a big part of the transportation industry. And at any given time, this trucker or these drivers face dangerous situations. So communicating safety risks is important in my book. All right. So then we go on to hazardous material. Corrosives, dynamite, liquids, chemicals. This all requires a special endorsement to even pull the load. You can carry a finite amount, I think it's 1,000 pounds, before you have to get a hazardous material endorsement on your license. Don't quote me on it, but I know there's a small amount you can be okay to clear for. But if you're hauling hazmat on the regulars, you should have the endorsement. I mean, the name says it right there as far as safety goes, hazmat. If you see a skull and crossbones on the side of that truck, give them space. Give them space. You're going to hear me say that a lot. I've said it a lot. Give them space. So then, you know, we'll kind of summarize just a little bit, you know, as far as the motor carrier safety and FMCSA and such. From the eyes of the driver, you've got a lot to look forward, look for, and look to. Safety is number one. Because when I was becoming a driver with my trainer on the road, you know, one thing he emphasized to me is you're not protecting you, you're protecting them. Trucks, you know, they're land trains. They're huge. They don't turn on a dime. They can't stop on a dime. It takes approximately one football field for a truck driver to recognize the need to stop and make the stop. So, give them space. Give them space. Give them space. I'd like to thank everyone for watching my video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have a great day.